still got this stupid thing.
Turn it off.
It was like,
She's gonna, go ahead.
We're doing something special. We're gonna get some serious business here.
Oh, we gotta do some serious business.
Serious business.
Shape up, will you?
Tastes better than a hamburger, you know. The last time we went to the prime time down there in Waukegan had a
Sir.
hamburger.
Sir? Cool.
Your
Your daughter wants your attention. She said it's a serious business.
Yes.
So straighten up.
Okay. There are more than one of us in this family that are doing the genealogy. And we like some information from the Norlin side.
Uh-oh.
So if you guys would answer some questions, and then we'll exchange tapes and stuff later. It's all done. Camera's on.
And by the way, you don't get any coffee and dessert until you ask the question.
Yeah. And they better be right, Bruce. They gotta be right, otherwise you're in trouble.
Okay. I've heard of Kedville, and I want to know something about it. And I understand Ingrid's the authority.
She is the family
Well,
historian.
That's right.
You know Kedville more than the rest of
Any of
us, right?
Start from the beginning.
Because you spent some time there.
This is your grandfather that purchased it?
Yeah, it's his home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my grandfather bought it from
And
the
state
lady
the
that
names.
lived upstairs. Mrs. Johnson lived upstairs. And when they come from Sweden later on in years, then Grandpa purchased the house. And then, of course, all his children, you know, and including my father and all the others, some of them lived there, and some of them went there to visit.
Now, the only ones that I know of would be your parents and Uncle Harry. Uncle Oscar was in that group.
Uncle David was in it.
Uncle David.
David lived there because he had all the,
Oh, yeah.
he had all the stuff from, he used to go to Japan all the time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a reason.
Didn't he have a family or something, or did he have?
No, he
missionaries.
didn't have-
Missionary.
Yeah, missionaries.
Because I remember every time, in fact, every time he came back, he always had ivory and stuff from,
Didn't have this.
yeah. I remember her.
Later on, she
No, no, heirs.
later on.
I'm working on it.
Her and Uncle Harry owned the house later on because they had planned on purchasing a house, Uncle Harry did, on Keystone. And she wanted Grandma to live there because she thought it would be good to move from a big house to a smaller house. But anyways, she had said no, she didn't care to move at all. She wanted to stay right there at Kedville. Grandma. Yeah, she wanted to stay there. And that's why Uncle Harry and Aunt Esther bought the house afterwards.
They bought
I can't remember.
They bought Kedville from where? Your grandma?
They, through my grandfather.
Oh, okay.
It was transferred to him.
After he passed away?
I think so, either that or before, I really don't know.
Well, where did Esther and Selma, because Esther and Selma lived there too, didn't they?
Yeah, they
And
lived
they
there.
lived there, that was after Aunt Selma's husband passed away.
So she came back to live at Kedville with Esther, is that it?
Yeah, but while Uncle Ed was still living, they lived in an apartment building on Berto in Pulaski.
Now, whose husband was
I
that?
remember.
That was,
And Selma.
And
Yeah,
Selma's,
yeah.
yeah, he was gone when I
Yeah,
got in the
that-
family.
I think so, yeah. Because he was working for Uncle Harry at the time. Because times were hard and he couldn't find a job. So Uncle Harry offered to give him a job with his tuck line. And he was on the roof doing some work. And I don't know how the accident happened, but anyways, he fell through the alley there. And his wife Aunt Selma took it very hard.
Oh.
Why did she? Then it was after that she moved in at Kedville with the rest of, Aunt Esther and Uncle David. And Grandpa lived until he was 90, I believe it was. when he passed away.
Which one was the funny one? Of the two? One I always remembered was
Uncle
really...
Oscar was the one that
No,
was
I mean
full
of
humor.
Esther and Selma. One
Oh.
I always remember seemed to be really kind of grumpy, and the other one was always friendly.
I thought
That's the only
Selma
thing I
was the
remember. I don't
friendlier
remember.
one.
Well,
than
and
Esther.
Esther was
Give me a
more,
bell-headed.
if you could say,
Esther was a tough cookie. Esther was tough.
Yeah, she was. Well, you see, when Esther was young in Sweden, she had to work for her grandmother. Now, which grandmother this was, I don't know, but Aunt Esther told me about that. Because I, as a young girl, I asked her, I said, why do I have to live here with my grandmother? And she said, well, you know, Ingrid, you're not alone. I had to live with my grandmother, and I had to take care of her, and I had to do a lot of hard work. And she used to go to a church there with a lot of young people there in Sweden. That's why she introduced me to Moody Bible Institute, and she said, aren't you going to go to their church or be interested in? And at that time, no, I really wasn't interested. I think I was fully in the Salvation Army, and there was no place like the Salvation Army at that time. And,
Did you know the other aunts?
Huh?
Passed away? Did you know the other aunts that passed away? Do you remember?
oh
them
yeah,
at all?
that was years ago. That was Aunt Marie was the first one that passed away. It was just a little girl.
She belonged to who?
And Aunt Marie, well, she
She
was
was
one of the
One of the sisters,
Yeah.
okay.
one of the sisters. She was belonged to Grandma and Grandpa. She was one of their children. And she had a goiter, and that's why she passed away. At that time, they couldn't take care of goiters. And I remember also at that time, I believe they had the caskets in the home, and her casket was in Kedville. That's why I always said that Kedville had its good times and it had its bad times. Its sad times, you might. And there was a lot of good times, enjoyable times too, especially at Christmas time. Wow, I could never wait until Christmas Day.
From those pictures that I've seen, it looks like you had a good time at Halloween too.
Oh, yeah, that was when the younger ones of my aunts and uncles and all the friends that they
Even Aunt
had.
Esther had a hat on her head.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really going
Esther?
something.
That's, yeah.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
real pointed, one of those
Sure.
pointed heads, and I said,
Oh, wait a minute, you know
I
what that
haven't
means?
seen that
It
side.
wasn't a black one, was it?
Yes, it was.
Did she have a broom out?
Did
though?
she have a broom, right, yeah. Under the bed.
Or a board on the nose.
That's what
Well,
some-
talk about Christmas time, that must have been pretty exciting back about 1950 then, wasn't it?
I can't remember now.
December of 1950, my mom said she was having mincemeat pie at Kedville,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden I showed up.
Oh, yeah, I can remember
That's what
that.
she said. That was my story.
She must have put
She
Ingrid
said
in
she
the
had got an
shot.
upset stomach and she thought it was the mincemeat pie and it was me.
I don't understand why.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
You don't remember
Well, now,
that?
didn't Uncle Harry live upstairs with his family?
Yeah, that was later on after.
Well, so did Jigs and Marie.
Yeah.
Everybody lived in
That's right.
Kedville.
Yeah, but see, we weren't
That's
very
right.
young.
So,
Yeah.
But you see,
All the
at that
sisters and
time, that
brothers.
was a full apartment upstairs.
Yes.
When Uncle Harry and Aunt Lucille lived upstairs. And then their first two children, I believe it was, Audrey and Dorothy.
Was that because of the Depression?
Uh-huh, I think so.
In other words, everybody came back because of the Depression.
Yeah. And even because of that, Uncle Rudolph and Aunt Dulcie and Louise lived at Kedville.
Yeah.
They lived there too, right?
They had part of it.
No, they were all
Remember
Norlins
that.
too.
Remember all
Remember that time that we
Well,
so
I would
they
think
were all
part of it
Mormons.
was.
Oh, I had scarlet
Database,
fever.
too.
Scarlet
There
fever.
was a lot more
Yeah.
They had to board it off
family
and you had to get your
cohesiveness, I
meals
guess,
through
Oh,
in
no.
terms of living.
Through
And
the
it was
door
the
and through
survival
the window.
too,
My
just like, you know,
grandma
the
came with the
depression
meals
was
too.
bad time. But
At that time.
Well,
A lot of
She
that
came-
was
she came
going on
with
at
the
that
meals.
time.
it was very common for
Yeah,
folks.
yeah.
It
And I
stay in the
loved
home.
lettuce.
home on.
sandwiches.
It was a big home.
So she made sandwiches like
Yeah.
that for me, different things in there each time.
Reminded me of it.
And everything that I had handled and
Oh,
all
wasn't
the
that bad?
Well, I know. It was,
under the sink, everything.
What, who was sick? You were sick?
Yeah, I had scarlet fever,
And so did I,
yeah.
when I was a kid.
And Uncle Harry insisted on that I do not go to the hospital. And I didn't know why. And he was insisting on that I be, what do they call it, quarantined
Yeah.
right there. So I was in the front room, I was quarantined there.
I remember
And
that.
they had boards,
Boarded over the,
yeah.
we walked into the kitchen, that's as far as we got.
That's a far, yeah.
Yeah.
They had
She-
boards up.
There was a little square hole where they shoved the food in for her.
golly.
Like the germs couldn't pass through
Yeah,
that.
right, uh-huh, yeah.
of course.
Oh,
You
they
know
were pretty
that.
strong boards back then.
That's right.
And then they,
Tight
I think,
fit.
and Dulcie used to come downstairs because I think we had chickens, or then some of the chickens turned out to be roosters, you know. And I could hear them crackling down there, you know, and then they started roosting. And then Aunt Dulcie used to call through the floor, and she says, "Ingrid, how are you today? How are you?" And she said, "Yeah." Yeah.
Who was the other end? Who was the other end?
Ostrich or something.
And the ostrich, you know?
No. There was another one.
Ostrid wasn't an aunt, was she?
No,
Oh,
she
No,
was
no,
a,
no, she was a very good friend.
Friend,
Aunt
yeah.
Esther had
There
a
was
lot of
another
good
aunt.
friends.
There was another end.
And
Inga.
Oh, Aunt
Oh,
Marie.
Inga.
Yeah,
Inga,
Oh,
Inga,
Aunt-
that's right.
Yeah, she was beautiful.
So there were, how many girls and how many boys in the
I
family?
think there were 5 girls and 4 boys.
5 girls?
And 4 boys.
Four boys.
And the first one was our father.
And the father, your father was the
That
oldest,
was
is
the
that it?
oldest of the,
Carl Egan.
of the boys, yeah.
And his name was what?
Carl Gideon, you said?
Yeah, Carl Egan. That's why they call him Egan.
Who was Marcus then?
And Marcus,
That
that
was
was
the
my
grandfather.
grandfather.
That's what, grandfather, okay.
Yeah.
And your grandmother's name was what?
Hannah.
Anna?
How do you spell that?
Anna.
Oh,
Anna.
With an H?
Renee.
H.
Yeah.
What was her maiden name?
Grandma's maiden name, I never knew. I
You
don't
don't know who your other grandparents
Stumped
were?
me, Ingrid here.
Yeah, that's the
You didn't know her
only
name,
thing.
maiden name?
No, I didn't know her
But-
name. I know that Grandpa teased her an awful lot because she was born in Småland in Sweden.
Oh, boy.
And I guess they were, I guess
Now,
they
what is
weren't so-
Småland?
Well, Småland, that's an
It's,
area, part of Sweden.
Oh, an area?
Or how would you,
They're very, very ambitious people.
Oh,
They say if you put them on an island a year later, they'll have a farm and a family and everything going. That's how ambitious they are.
yeah.
5 boys and 4 girls.
That's ambition. I'll
That's
tell you.
ambition.
They're
She
extremely,
took care of all the
Nowadays,
plants
that would be
around
bankruptcy.
there. And she did a lot of work around there.
How
And
far
I
back do you
played,
want to go?
I'd like to go back before that.
Yeah.
how far back when I
Do you
was,
remember Sweden at all?
no, I don't. I don't even remember being
Well,
on
it's
the
that country
boat
next to Norway.
with Joe and I.
Just trying to help.
Yeah, Joe and I came on the boat
We
together.
came on the boat together.
she was
You still got that plate?
Yes, I
And that was really run, that
yeah, the only
Max
difference,
Rosenberg,
It was
or
opposite.
the artist.
the girl and the boy were
Yeah, you
opposite.
got a couple
Yeah.
standing on the rail of a ship, and a boy and a girl next to the couple,
Oh.
and they're approaching
you've
the
seen that.
Statue of
I
Ellis
haven't.
Island.
Oh,
You've
geez.
seen
We
that.
went through Ellis Island.
Uh-huh, at that time they had Ellis
do
Island.
you have your name up there then? Oh, you should. Because
They,
they had an
uh,
article in the paper that anybody who came through there could have their name on that plaque that they have there.
Yeah, we were
Really?
part of the immigration movement.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
we should
But I
put,
don't-
we should put Tomas' name on it.
Yeah.
Because it was just us 3. And how that happened, I don't know. I guess Pa took care of it with the family and saw
He
to
was
that
already
we were
here, huh?
paid for.
He was already over here, wasn't he? Yeah.
But now the one that traveled to Sweden and America a couple of times, even when I was little, and that was Uncle David.
Yeah,
He did a
You did a lot of travel.
yeah.
Yeah, he enjoyed to do traveling.
No, he stayed
And he
single.
used to say he went to
He was
his-
married and then divorced.
Yeah.
was it to his brother's house in Sweden, you know? And that's when I was a little baby, and they said that he had a baby there that cried all night long. And guess who that
Now,
A little colicky, maybe?
Yeah. I guess I wanted attention probably.
Ruth can go back further for you, Sweden-wise, because she keeps in touch with the cousins
Oh, you do?
in Sweden.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but
But
they,
that's mostly
No, they
Alaska.
would know, even though they're younger than you, they can probably reach back
Yeah.
in Sweden.
let's see, only the aunts can tell you.
I know,
All of my aunts.
But
are-
the aunts
No,
might
but
have
if
told
there's-
the
Yeah, maybe
generation,
they-
like you're telling Kathy now.
Right.
So you ought to try some of that. Kathy should let you know the questions that she wants answered, and you can,
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah. And if they can make copies of any
Sure.
certificates, marriage, death,
Oh,
birth, that kind of stuff.
I can understand.
Well, whatever
I
happened to
think
the
there's a little
genealogy chart
problem
that
here, though, because when they came
you had a
over, they
Norlin
They
genealogy
changed the
chart?
name, yeah, I
Yeah.
know.
Mhm.
But Joe had to send for his birth certificate
Yeah.
or something.
I got it,
Yeah. And I got
I got
my
mine.
birth certificate.
Was
Mine,
it
I
never-
never
She's
had
got
it.
her original, yeah, from Sweden.
Yeah,
You
Yeah.
did too, didn't you?
yeah, Social Security time, yeah,
Yeah, that's right.
was it Peterson?
And,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Okay, Ingrid, what are all your names?
Real crazy spelling.
Yeah. What are your
P-E-double-T-E-R,
Uh,
R-double-S-O-N.
well, according
Yeah, the
to,
word
according
Peterson
to
come in
my
like
birth
that, but
certificate,
and all that.
What?
it's
Where
Ingrid
did it come in?
Elsa
They
Marie
changed it for what, business reasons?
Peterson at that time.
Ingrid,
Yeah,
Elsa.
I don't
But
know.
I have always been
There were
told
too many
that
letters.
Ingrid.
Yeah,
That's what Dad told me, there was
Yeah,
too many
Ingrid-
That's right, that's
Yeah.
what you told me.
And it was supposed to be more
E-L-I-N.
Americanized, if
Marie.
that's,
E-L-A-N?
So who changed it?
E-L-I-N.
My grandpa.
Oh, that's just like Oscar's.
I'll tell you one thing,
Marcus.
it's a unique name.
That was her
I
name.
can't find Norlin's,
So I don't know which
maybe there's
is
one
right
Norlin in the
and
Chicago book.
as far as that goes, but
Really
it's
only-
only
I
the
read the
middle.
house in Norlin.
It's
Did
only
you
the
really?
middle name,
Yeah.
so it
It's on
doesn't
in
matter.
Libertyville.
In Libertyville?
Don't they have a G at the end? They
No,
usually
it's
have a
in
G.
Norlin.
Oh, really?
He was the fire inspector for the village of Lincolnshire.
Oh.
Eric
We've got a
Norlin.
couple of Norlins
Oh.
now.
It was the weirdest
And
thing.
his wife's name is
I thought it was
Kathy.
original.
You're kidding.
Oh.
Talk about a
Longest
strange,
time, we've never had another Norlin there.
talk about a
Well,
strange
there's
phone
also
call.
a Norlin music store too somewhere.
Mm-hmm,
Sure.
yeah, I've seen
Right,
that.
now, there's a Norlin music man from Northwestern. He was on the staff for a number of years at Northwestern. And they have a, a building named for him or a scholarship program or something for him at Northwestern University.
I wonder how that happened, that Norlin name got to be get around like that.
Yeah, you have no idea why they picked it from Peterson.
No, I don't know why at all. My grandfather did that when he came here, And I just happened to see it upstairs in the attic because sometimes when I went up there, I used to go rummaging around. I was always curious about things. And then I asked him, I says, how come I see Peterson around here? Why is that here? On letters that Grandma and Grandpa used to send to each other. They sent beautiful letters to each other. I couldn't read it all. I had someone read them to me. And they were real Christian letters that they wrote. And he wrote in Swedish, he wrote to my dear wife. And then at the end he would say something like, the Lord, with the Lord's blessings or something like that. But it was all in Swedish.
See, I think in those days they came over two at a time or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Over
just
those.
came
I
in
know.
two at a time here, right? That's why it was that way.
See, and I remember Ma telling me that Pa came over first class because he had asthma.
Hmm.
Oh, is
Oh,
that
yeah.
right?
They
I've
didn't
often
take in
wondered.
sick people. Well, see, and, they didn't give any physical to them at all. They
Yeah.
got in.
Yeah.
So that's how he snuck in. He
That's how
snuck
he
in.
He's not. No, he didn't. I don't think he would know.
Himself.
Kathy, I got a real interesting picture maybe in the family. I got it from Jake's, and it's an old sepia print. And I must have, of all the boys, and I mean, the uncles and
Oh, it's sitting on his
the
dresser.
aunts. And I think I got it from Jake's.
Well, I thought I saw a picture on his dresser.
Dad's dresser?
Yeah,
An 8x10?
yeah.
That's just them.
Oh,
Their mom and the 5 kids.
okay, that's
And
that's
Joe
what-
is in his uniform.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
not the one
Yeah,
you're
right.
talking about.
right.
That he's
Yeah,
talking
Don's got a
about.
copy of that in the
And then
house.
you brought it
Yeah.
over and I told you Dad had that up on his
Yeah.
dresser already.
You know, this is an original old, and the
Was
boys are real young. It's really
Was that taken in Sweden then? In their
either
home
that or
in
when they just
Sweden?
got over here.
Oh.
Could be sweet.
Well, was it an old house? Looked like an old house out in the country.
Got that too, yeah. Yeah.
But that must be another one then, huh? Because that's a picture of
Do you know what we'll
Grandma
be looking for next
and
October?
all the children. From our father and all the way
I
down
hear you.
to Uncle Harry, and he's sitting on a little chair or something like that.
This has got all of them. I mean, this
Yeah,
is
but this is what
a
Joe
complete
talked
family
about.
picture.
Oh, that must be another one that you...
I got it from Jake. And he sent some other things too.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wonder where he got that from.
And you just couldn't read.
You couldn't read it.
You know, you couldn't
You didn't know
read
what it was.
No, I couldn't read it either.
Yeah.
Do you know why they picked Chicago to come to?
No, I don't. I just knew that that's where the place was and so
Yeah.
on.
Did your grandfather have any family here at all?
I don't think so. But all his relations were in Sweden.
Yeah.
And he was, in Sweden,
Grandma
he
too.
was a church builder. And I have
Who's
he was a church builder. And
Your
I do-
grandfather?
Yeah. And I do know that, he had some problems in building this one church that I know of. That's what this, statement says, because, what's her name, Dorothy Calvert, her and her husband went there to visit.
And they have a
And
picture of
they
the
have
church.
pictures
That's
of-
right. It was
and-
built by your grandfather.
Yeah, and in one of the churches there, they got a
That's
picture.
right.
That must
He's got a
be, that
picture.
must be the article.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't read it.
Oh, and then they have a picture
Sure
in
could
one of those
duplicate it.
churches of Grandpa,
Yeah.
because it was built through him.
You'd be interested in this, Lenny. Aunt Esther. She was living for a while in New York City in the Bronx. And she wanted me,
Aunt
to
Selma.
come and live with her. Well, I must have been like 13, 14.
That
She
was-
said Selma.
I
not
think that was
Esther.
Aunt
No,
Selma.
no, this was Esther.
Are you
Because
sure?
she was a domestic for Tom Yorkie, who owned the Red Sox.
Oh,
The
right.
Boston Red Sox, yeah.
She was a cook, yeah.
She was
Oh.
all the aunts were domestics.
Yeah.
But she was a special one because she worked for Tom Yorkie.
No
Oh,
kidding.
yeah,
Tom York.
Yeah.
she worked
Who
for
owned the
Quaker
Boston Red
Oats
Sox.
also.
Yeah.
She worked for Quaker
Oh,
Oats.
that's something.
I didn't know that.
Mhm.
And she
I
worked,
know.
didn't they work on the Gold Coast at one time as domestics too? Selma
Yeah.
and Esther,
Oh, yeah.
cooking for doctors and,
Right.
did you say that or something?
Very exclusive.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
invited me up one time.
Affluent people
To
of
see
the day, yeah.
Is that right?
Oh, it was real high, and I remember looking out the window and seeing the Lake
The lake?
Michigan.
Oh, that's the Tribune Towers. Is that where it is? Tribune Towers. That's where she used to work, I believe, up on the 23rd floor. And you look out the windows and the cars look like little bugs crawling on the street.
Yeah, they were good cooks, weren't
And
they?
I think it
Yeah.
was there where the top would sway. The apartment would sway a little bit. And I go, and that's how come
Is this
it
before or
would
after you
sway?
had the little?
And she told me that it's supposed to sway like that, because if it didn't, why then it'd
It would
fall
crack.
down.
It would crack off.
Yeah. And she was up on the 23rd floor, and there's where she was working as a cook. And she used to tell me that I should do some kind of children's work in wealthy homes like that because you are considered someone when you take care of the children. You sit at a table with the people and with the children, and you take care of them, and you are served the same as them. Like when you're a cook like she was, she used to work out in the kitchen.
She had to
And
eat
she
good
had
too,
to-
right?
Yeah, she had to bring everything into
Good,
the furniture
good.
room,
Thank
to
you.
the
Be sharp,
dining room.
please.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were the
Cook
good
in
old
the
days.
garage.
What was it that your father did, his occupation? You said your grandfather built churches. What did your dad do?
He couldn't work
Because
too
of his
much
asthma.
because of his heart condition.
Didn't he work at all? He didn't work at all?
Well, I thought he was a cabinet maker, then.
In the backyard, yeah,
In
he
the
had a
backyard.
little shed where he made things.
Yeah.
But that's about it. As far
I
as
used to
know.
go with him to pick up wood.
How old was he? Because I know his dad was only 12, he said, when he died.
Yeah, Joe said he was 14.
See, yeah,
So
I was
how-
only
You don't
about
remember him
6 or
working,
7.
or do you remember him working?
Yeah, for a while, he was, well, he was in the building trades, you know, but I remember him as a tile setter. He was doing tile setting, and the official occupation on the death certificate is plasterer. In those days, they used to lap and plaster
Yeah.
ceilings and walls, you know, so he was a plasterer.
Probably by the time you girls were born,
But-
he wasn't working anymore.
And that's probably a
Yeah.
dusty job too, right?
Yeah.
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 Probably didn't help
Probably
him.
about
Yeah, he-
6, something like that.
He got injured, he fell off a building or something, I remember. Yeah.
Really?
And,
I do know that he had sores on his legs that wouldn't heal.
Yeah.
yeah, because I know they were always, you know, I guess it made a difference. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but it's not gonna be crawling on top of buildings, you know? As a kid, I was an outlaw type anyway, but I don't know what I'm gonna do, but it's not gonna be in that business, you know?
How old do you
And
think he
and
was?
the uncles were very successful.
How
That's what they
old
called
was he when he
They
died?
used to get corners
I'd say
and
the
sides
most
of
in his
buildings, and he
50s.
repairing
Almost.
weather
Joe was-
damage
I
to
think Joe would
bricks and.
remember more.
you know,
Well, I mean, Joe and Dad, I mean,
Yes,
they're
was-
only
yeah.
14, and
Joe
he
was
was
Oscar with
he
him
was
too?
50?
He had his own business.
I-
Oscar
I
was about
have-
the
I don't-
same.
I
I
can't
don't
remember.
remember
Yeah.
that because I remember I was 15.
I mean, I don't think he made 50. I don't.
But they were very,
Right,
very
that would seem-
successful.
Unless he got, that would mean,
It was
22,
common for,
32, 42.
for them to go to Florida in the winter. I mean, to get out of Chicago and go to
What am
Florida.
I counting?
yeah.
So
Your fingers, I
I
can see
forgot
that.
now what I got in the middle of that.
For those years?
Joe was, well, he was born in 22,
Right.
so 32,
Yeah, and I was born in 20.
30, 34, would that be 1934? Did he die?
Well,
what
he
year
was
did
14,
die? Yeah,
so it would be 36, right?
he was
you
born
said-
in 22,
22 plus 4 would be 36.
36,
That's when he passed away.
1936.
Yeah.
Okay, when was he born?
How old was your dad when he died?
Oh,
You know, I'm thinking he was pretty young. I'm
Yeah.
saying
Yeah.
I was gonna
like,
say, 'cause
like 49.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think. I
That's
think-
1 year less than you. We're getting closer.
Well, how old were you when you passed away?
No, I just figured that
14
because
or
if you're 49, if he
How
was
old are you
50,
now?
that would make him the first time he
Yeah,
had
how
a
old
child.
are you
maybe,
now?
but-
Oh,
yeah.
Yes, I mean,
never thought of that.
Right,
I mean,
doing
for a first
the
child,
subtraction.
I could see maybe the
Yeah.
last
All you
child.
do
but
is
I mean,
figure out, yeah.
I mean, when did he get
It
married? Did he get married
Took
in
a
his
little brains
30s then?
there. Good thing you had a few there.
He got married in Sweden, right?
I'm good at math.
But
They
it
do
was,
get married
it
in
was
Sweden.
36 or 37.
They do get married.
The kings that
A
don't
few
get
get married, let's
They
say,
do have
put it that way.
Yes, they do get married.
I
Yeah,
don't remember
Yeah.
that kind of.
yeah.
I was just thinking that, because you back up 14 years from 50, and that puts him at about 36. So that would mean when Joe would have been born when he was 35 or 36 years old. That would've been-
They were pretty old. when
That's pretty old for the first
kids
child.
were born, I think, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That long ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, but Joe
I mean,
wasn't
now.
his first child.
Oh, I'm sorry,
I
Ingrid
was-
was, so that's right, so that would make him
Well, I was
2
born
years
in
younger than that, that's
1920.
right, yeah, Ingrid's 2 years older, you're right.
Yeah. I'm 2 years older than,
Oldest boy, that's you're right. But still, you're still talking mid-30s
That's right.
for the first
pretty
born.
old
And that's,
for,
yeah, in those days, that's pretty old.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the life
Or would you
expectancy
say
back then
that-
wasn't anything like it
Would
is
you
today.
say
So
that Ma
you
was
were
around
considered an old
30
man when you were
I
in your
was born?
40s. Huh?
And my mother was about 30?
well, depending on how many years difference there were between your
There's
father.
2 years
Oh,
between all of us.
I know, I mean,
No,
between your
no,
mother and
she
father.
means-
How many years difference in their ages?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
Ingrid was
Yeah.
born in 1920, 22, Dad was 24, right?
Mhm.
And then you
Yeah.
guys were 26. So you're saying he was born in 1890?
Yeah, it's about right,
Yeah.
88.
Would he be born that far back?
Yeah,
That's not that far.
because
Yeah.
Grandpa Momstead was born in 1899.
99, but he was also, Mom was also, well, yeah, but that was his
Yeah.
first marriage. So
Yeah, he was born in 88, as I remember.
Your father?
88?
88?
Oh, then
And
you were-
he
you're
died in
close.
37, made him 49.
Yeah, you're right.
That's it. That's it.
So then you back up 16 years for
Yeah.
Ingrid. Yeah. Oh, see, that's a,
Yeah.
So figure it out.
well, we got that clear.
Oh, boy, I'm glad.
Yeah.
Well,
That would've worried
it just
me.
seemed, just thinking of being, because I envisioned when he said he died, when Dad said he died at 12, I'm thinking, oh, he must have been in his, maybe,
Right, uh-huh.
maybe early
Yeah.
30s, maybe,
Yeah,
maybe
no.
40 at the most.
Yeah.
You're saying nearly 50, so oh, the Taylor Patrol is here. Are you going with him somewhere?
Is that soccer man?
Wear your shoes.
John did,
It's got
John?
that
She's
neat-
coming to the front door, Jonathan.
Hey.
Taylor's mother.
With your shoes, yes.
Oh, thank you.
I said no, we wouldn't have time, but we did.
all right.
Sorry about
What?
that. You know how things are. Do we
yeah.
have time? Do we not? Oh, just take 3 seconds.
Thanks a lot, Sharon.
You know, speaking of Mr. Norlin, I'm a citizen complaining. I want my yard done. Oh, the company.
Yeah!
No one's gonna get done.
Very bad.
I was gonna call over there.
Well, I'm sure it's being held.
You gotta lock the door, don't you?
Yeah, John.
Huh?
If you're company, I come in early.
We get a breakdown
Tomorrow's the funeral, or my dad died.
from those ancestral.
Well, you're talking about the family tree, but I don't think it includes,
I don't know, I'm not gonna be
so
able
I'm
to go
wondering
forward.
how far it goes
Just call Wes,
to
they'll tell you.
family or anything.
Sure. Did they come over and,
And I think it
I don't blame him, I know he
tells
wants to.
ages.
And I'm a little annoyed. I saw him working, the same company,
And,
is working on
when they were
45 and
born,
Loveland,
but
I see him
I
out there
don't know
spreading
how
black
that-
dirt and stuff, so maybe it's the same
Well, she
crew.
went
and
there
they'll
to find out about
Yeah,
that.
I'm sure we're a small job. I don't know what happened, but
They would
I wish
include
they
all
would
the
now that the
brothers
rain
and
cleared up.
I just
sisters,
needed parts of my backyard.
Yeah, it just
Right,
says
this
that
is a
they
perfect
had.
So
time
try
for
to
it.
well thing
Oh,
on
well,
Tuesday.
I may not think to do it Monday.
Yeah, I
Because I
think
got
that's
the
all I
home
see,
that
and
way
then
Wednesday,
it's
I got a laundry
organized.
washing
Monday,
machine.
see
They
what
list
they're-
Sure. We got
They're
a
due
meeting.
to come in
Squares, they
soon.
list the
The
children.
rain sure held them up.
But I don't
Because
think
everything's
they
wet.
say
Driving there.
the
Stockpile
ages
black
or
dirt, you
just her
can't,
name.
you'd be bringing it back. You wouldn't want him to have
We were there through the weekend.
Unless I'm
Driveway.
wrong on that, I haven't
Sunday.
looked at it for such a
Yeah.
long
That's what his
time.
folks are.
I know we're not included
So-
in there.
Take care.
Week from
And
tomorrow, we're
Audrey
gonna
was
come
saying
down.
that we can very
Oh, that's all
easily
right, no
write
problem.
that in if we
So
want
hopefully I'll
to.
be able to get sleep that
But we all have to get
next week
together
from
and
week
find
Sunday,
out
I'll
when
get
this
sleep.
and that one was born and where and so on.
You getting complaints there, sir?
That's his friend.
That's Jonathan's friend down the street. Anyway,
Okay.
where are we at now?
Yeah, where are we?
Yeah.
Do you have the history, do you have the history of your dad? Carl, do you have the history of your dad? You know, all the jobs he worked at and stuff like that?
No. He worked a lot of jobs when I met you.
Well,
You said
yeah,
that he
let's
worked
see,
like 3 jobs at
I
one
don't
time.
remember much before Mundelein, except for what he told me. Okay, he's born in 24.
There's a whole bunch of change on the chair there. You just say that.
Oh, don't tell me.
And Joe.
That's okay, Joe, you can leave it there.
Yeah.
That's okay, I'll
Let it
clean.
slide in.
Yeah, the cleaning lady will take care of it.
Yeah, right.
Cleaning lady. There you go. Oh.
So he, well, the only thing I remember when he was growing up was Joe smoked a cigar and Dad got in trouble. Or no, Dad smoked a cigar and Joe got in trouble for it. And Dad didn't fess up to it. You smoked one of your dad's cigars and you got beat for it. You believe that
That's
one?
kind of crazy.
You didn't do anything.
He snuck one of your dad's cigars. And he went out and smoked it, and of course he come looking for Joe because he would never expect good old Dad. I mean, he was a good boy, you know. Of course he was older, you know.
Yeah.
So he stood there and watched Joe get a beating and think, oh well, better you than me.
But Grandpa never
anyway.
smoked too many cigars. He was a snuff man.
Your dad?
He sent me to the store to get him a box of snuff. In those days, they had a product called Seal Snuff. I don't know if it's still around, but that and a,
Yeah, I remember now.
Is that what he
Then
wanted?
what would he
He
work?
wanted
He
some
worked at
snus.
Hammond, Oregon, right?
Ah.
yeah.
David.
He worked at Hammond, Oregon. Didn't you work with him?
Did him.
Oh, David.
No,
He was
But
in
did
But
Jake
Dad
work
did
But
too.
didn't Jig
Yeah,
work
Jig
for
worked.
him?
Dad did because
Jigs,
Yeah.
yes, he did. You're
when
right.
he moved
Yeah.
to Mundelein,
Yeah.
he was still working for Hammond,
That's
Oregon,
right.
and then he was commuting. I remember he was commuting.
That's right.
And then we had, then his first job in Mundelein, when he lived there, I think, was Anchor Coupling. He went to Anchor Coupling in Libertyville, and I think he worked there for a long time. But while he worked for Anchor Coupling, he also worked for the Jewel, right down across the street, kitty corner from our shop. There used to be a Jewel food store there. And at McDonald's in Libertyville, the very first one. It was one of the first McDonald's opened up. The one in Des Plaines was the very first, and Libertyville probably was about 2 weeks later. It was very close to being one of the first ones opened up, other than the original. And so he worked 3 jobs. He worked, his usual work week was about 80 hours a week.
oh my
Oh.
Because he
word.
worked 20 hours at each place part-time and 40 hours at Anchor Coupling.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and he wouldn't let Mom work. She had to stay home and take care of us. So he wasn't home too much. But then, let's see.
Oh, so did you
Then I don't know if
all that
Anchor,
much.
I don't remember what happened to Anchor Company. I know he had a job at, he worked at Rigiflex over here towards Antioch. He worked at Plastiwax, which was over on Morris
Yeah,
in Mundelein.
I used to go there all the time.
And then he worked at, then the one job I really remember then after that was McLean Fogg.
Right.
And while he worked at McLean Fogg, then he got,
To school, huh?
worked at the high school.
That's right, I remember that.
And that's when he started locksmithing, when he worked for the high school. Because he went to work for the high school, right, just about, if not the year, or the year after I graduated, which had been '69. So, and then it was about that time he started MGN Service Center, and he used to rebuild valve calipers and burners and stuff like that. And then he took up locksmithing, and he did that at the high school. He rekeyed the whole place, and that was where he got experience. And him and Mom basically started running a business out of the garage, and he had all his cabinets in there and locks, keys.
Yeah, I remember that.
And that was after Mom had her first bout of cancer. After she came out of the hospital there, she wanted to have a store, and that's when we opened up a shop, and where we have it in Mundelein. And that would have been about 15 years ago.
Well, then, Jiggs didn't keep up the other jobs then, did he?
No,
Oh, no.
he
Then
retired
had-
from,
because
well,
that was a full-time
I think he took an
job.
early retirement. There wasn't, he was really upset with McLean Fogg. I can't remember what it was, because he was
Yeah.
there about 14 years, and they kind of gave him the stickeroo, you know.
Right, so he quit McLean Fogg and went he was part-time at Mundelein High School, then he
Right.
went full-time with
Full-time.
Mundelein High School and quit his full-time job at McLean Fogg. So
And
he
then
was
he was
full,
doing locksmithing, then that got to be too much, then he went part-time. Then he retired completely from the high school, and then he went full-time. Just about, within a year or so before I went to work for him, which it would be 10 years ago, November 1st.
Oh, my.
November 1st or December
It was after Thanksgiving.
It was after Thanksgiving, so it was probably closer to December 1st. I worked full time then, so I'll be 10 years this December.
You want to tell us how he got the name of Jigs?
He used to like the comics.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought
Maggie
Bringing Up
and Jig.
Father.
Yeah, Bringing Up Father.
Right.
Yeah.
Maggie and Jig.
And he said he
Yeah.
liked Jig.
Yeah.
And so we started calling him Jig.
Hmm.
We all had nicknames.
I thought Joe gave us all names.
I thought because of being Magnus, they'd start calling him Maggie.
Maggie.
And he didn't like that. so
Yeah, that, then it
I don't-
evolved to
Evolved to
Jigs.
Jigs.
Oh.
Well, he hated Magnus. He never,
Yeah.
he never wanted to be called Magnus.
He's the only one
Oh,
that
yeah,
had
he
about
hated that
umpteen
name.
names.
Maggie would.
Magnus, Gunnar, Gustav, Arnold,
Arnold,
Norlin.
Oh my.
Or
Oh
as
my.
You guys don't have names like
He's the
that?
only one that.
Well,
The girls?
He's the only one that has such a
Well,
long.
Joe
Well, he
said
would
he
say
has
it.
4 names.
Yeah.
What is your name?
Yeah.
I'm snapping a photo.
Oh, what's your
You
name?
answered what your name was.
It's gonna be mud in a minute.
Yeah.
Snapping a photo's only 3. I thought you said 4.
I only had 3 names, I think.
See, snapping a photo. That's,
So it's Joseph.
Carl.
Ferdinand Carl.
No,
Carl,
you
it
said
was Carl.
Ferdinand was
Carl
your first
Ferdinand.
name.
Carl
something like it. I mean, I don't
Carl
know the
I keep
order.
saying that, I keep turning around, cut it out.
Ferdinand.
The other night you said Ferdinand was your first name.
Did I?
Yeah,
You're
and then you
right.
didn't like it,
You're
so
right.
you used Joseph.
That's right.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Get the story straight, Joe, will you?
Yeah.
We practiced
Yeah,
this, didn't we?
Right. Yeah, we
He
ran
still
through
had
this
one more
script a
than-
I
couple.
wonder if that's.
He still had one more than you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, one more.
Magnus, Gustav, Gunnar, Arnold.
That's it.
Yeah.
You said that, you had it right the first time. It was
Uh-huh.
he would say it was Magnus Gunnar Gustav.
Oh, my. Gee.
So I remember, that. You know, one time I put that on an application, they said, your dad's full name.
Oh.
Over around the other side, gonna give him an extra sheet of paper. And he says, don't do that. He never,
Joe,
he just,
does that say on your birth certificate? You
Yeah.
have that name of Ferdinand, did you say?
Yes, it's his
Yeah.
name, Ferdinand.
Would
Come
you
on,
agree?
he's on
Can you
Yeah, but is that a
No.
Swedish name?
His name
Sure,
is
Spanish, isn't it,
people
Ferdinand?
named
That's
after
first
him.
name.
Yeah.
His first name is
Yeah,
Ferdinand?
but-
I thought it was
That's why
Carl.
I was calling
I thought his
Ferdinand.
first name was Carl.
I thought his
With a
first
K.
name was Joseph.
No.
So,
Came out
They-
You learn something new every day.
You used to call me
What
Yusef.
do we call him, Freddie then? Is that it? Is
I
that
don't
it?
know.
Yeah, no, nobody ever knew, you know.
we know now.
Well, we don't know, right?
You mean on the birth certificate?
You mean on your birth certificate it says Ferdinand?
And
I've
This
never
was
seen
a
a
damn
birth certificate,
shooting
I like
side.
to see that.
Fred.
Oh, Fred.
Got a better one.
Oh, my dad's name.
Oh,
How
okay.
about Freddie Joe?
Freddie Joe. Oh, boy.
Freddie Joe.
Freddie
Norlin.
Joe.
Right,
That
right.
sounds like a southern name.
Yeah.
No, it isn't.
Freddie Joe.
Oh, yeah.
Billy Bob.
Do you,
Bob, yeah.
Hey, Bob.
do you remember
Was that
the
enough
names
history?
you gave us?
You both got the name.
Do you remember what you used to call her?
And Millie's blushing.
This is gonna be on
Read
tape.
that.
that
No.
off.
You remember,
I know
right?
I was a bad,
Oh, yeah.
name caller, but, you
Everybody
know,
had a name.
or a
What was
good
your name, Mildred?
caller, but I
She was skinny,
like
wasn't
to-
she?
No.
Hook,
get
and
those.
sinker.
Some kind
Hook,
of
line,
hook,
I don't think everybody would have a
line.
nickname.
That's just one.
Oh.
What was it?
Cash, hook, line, and sinker.
And Cash was your name too. I remember
Yeah.
that.
You
You
call
know,
her Cash?
Cash and Chubbs.
And Red Basket. She was called Red Basket too.
And then he'd come in and he'd say to my mother, "Where are the rats?"
Oh, yeah,
And
well,
she'd say, "They aren't rats."
that's right.
Do you
Well,
remember?
they call them Rugrats now, you know, so maybe that's.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I
boy.
tell you.
That's our
And living
brother.
on Lakewood, that was an experience. Herndon Street, right on the railroad tracks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't say it, please. His favorite
Was that where the
line.
bakery was?
Yeah, yeah.
He'd say, I don't live on this
Wonder
side
Bread,
of the
right?
track
Wonder Bread?
or that
That's
side
what I
of the
tell the
track. I
kids.
live right on the tracks. You know,
Right
20 million times he
That's the
said
railroad.
it.
Right on the bridge there.
Yeah,
You used to eat
remember
potatoes
those.
all the time,
Yeah.
right?
yeah.
5:30.
He was
Was
a
I heard
rat
of your
Stale bread.
Yes,
I heard a
He
story
was
Remember
about,
when you were a rascal?
Yeah.
Yeah, how did you turn out?
I even
to
had
be
a
that?
T-shirt with that name on it.
A
Yeah.
rascal?
Yeah.
Well, that, you probably remember that.
Oh,
We
yeah,
had
because he
well, we had a team,
Right.
baseball
baseball.
team,
That's
yeah.
right.
All the
and I
rest.
went to camp and I wore that T-shirt because
Right.
it was the only shirt I had, I think.
And that's why they called it.
Yeah, right, they call
Then it
What's
shortened
the
to RAS,
name for
then they all
Jake?
called it
Oh.
RAS.
it. And this
Not
guy in
rats,
Southern
but rats.
California, he still calls me that.
Rascal?
Yeah, Ras.
RAS.
Oh, rascal, okay.
Yeah.
Did you hang around with the Kellers? The Keller boys
On Little Street.
on Little Street?
Kenny Keller.
Kenny Keller?
And Junior Keller.
Right,
Yeah.
Kenny Keller I worked with at AT&T, and
Yeah, I
mine
did
was,
too.
Oh,
you
Yeah,
did too.
right.
We
Small
worked with
world.
Kenny Keller at
It
AT&T.
rings a bell and all.
Yeah,
back
and
in
his
the
brother,
day, yeah.
and his brother
Well,
who you
you
hung
used
around
to
with was
call
a
him-
pilot, a United Airlines pilot.
You called him Clarky.
Oh, yeah?
Clarky?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because he had a really nice black hair.
Yeah, he turned out to be the pilot.
Yeah.
I mean,
but
He is
they
United
remember
Airlines pilot.
Joe and Jigs from
And
camp.
Kenny worked at
They couldn't-
AT&T.
he doesn't know who they are.
And Kenny's son, by the way, I might as well tell you, I went to the funeral. His
Who
son
was that? From
was one of the guys at the Gulf War, the first one where the helicopter fell off the carrier and went into the sea.
Let me see
They
those
lost
that knew him from.
He was one of the, I think there were 5 guys on that helicopter, and Kenny Keller's son was one of the guys, one of the boys.
Linda.
Yeah,
Linda's sister.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the Kenny and his wife were invited to the White House, the presidency. You know,
Really?
Yeah, oh yeah, they were given a medal by
Oh.
Bush, I believe it was at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had big ceremony in Glenview. They live in Glenview.
Turning in
Um,
Joe's head, he's thinking
That
of
was
something.
Kenny's
He is-
Kenny's oldest boy, by the way. I think
Yes,
that's
the gear's turning look.
Yeah, right.
He's got that.
Uh-huh.
I've showed Ruth a picture of those 2 ladies from camp that knew you.
Did
Oh, did
she,
we figure it out yet?
did you know who they were?
Yeah, they're Glendon and her sister. I worked with them out at camp. They were waitresses. Glendon's,
I think that makes it.
What's the name?
Glendon,
Swan.
Not yet.
Swan.
Swan?
she
Back
became
then?
an officer in the
Swanee.
Salvation Army.
Swanee,
We
right.
call
Her
her
father
Swan.
was a
Officer.
officer in the Salvation Army, right.
Missionary in India.
Missionary in India.
But she's right here in Elgin now. We went to see her, what, about a month ago?
Yeah, we took her out to dinner.
Now, do you know who that is then?
Yeah.
Because we couldn't.
In fact, when she said it was a Salvation Army officer, yeah,
Yeah.
and it rang up.
Yeah, because they kept
trained.
asking about Dad and Joe, and we were trying to figure out.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
they
didn't
would-
recognize them at all.
Was she a
They
lieutenant?
said they knew him from camp.
What was she, a major,
Joe ought to
right?
tell you
She
about
was a
the
major,
Salvation Army.
the girl herself. She turned out to be a major.
He's got a lot
The
of
one
good
that was a
memories
wait,
of the
she was a
Salvation
waitress
Army.
with you guys, is that it?
Yeah.
You guys were waitresses
Oh,
with her,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Well,
okay.
she turned out to be a major in the Salvation Army, the girl.
And that's her
I was
sister.
there when I met
She lives
him.
in Rockford.
Yeah. I wasn't there when
Yeah,
the
we
son
were
of the
taking a
twins
break.
worked.
They were born in
They
India?
were campers
Is it?
when
Oh,
I was
so-
working.
There's cups and everything.
Yeah.
I didn't know you had pictures. This is Joy's
Yeah,
wedding. I
right,
didn't know you
yeah.
had pictures.
Why don't you guys go ahead and get
Few.
something?
I don't
Oh, we
have
should
a
have brought
lot.
the pictures of
Who's
Joy's
wedding?
I want to finish this with Joe
Oh,
telling
yeah.
a Swedish story.
Oh, we gotta finish this with Joe telling a Swedish story.
A Swedish
Which
story?
Swedish story you wanted to tell?
What were the
Norwegian
stories? What were the
Swedish story.
stories you should
Huh?
tell out at camp?
This isn't the messy one, is it?
The one,
No.
no, the one with the Norwegian.
Norwegian.
Oh,
The only
Norwegian.
one I know is the messy one.
No, we like that one.
The one running.
We gotta tell that one anyway. I want that one on
The
tape.
one with running through the woods.
Oh, that
Oh,
was
Oh, yeah.
I can even do that.
Yeah, that,
Yeah, but Joe's got the accent.
I want the messy one before we start eating.
Okay, all right. Jan Jansen and Ole Olsen are on a train going from Chicago to Minnesota, to Minneapolis. And the train is moving along, and they're doing fine, and the trip's going along well,
They were standing outside.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, this guy was on the train, yeah. And he's going from Chicago to Minneapolis. I had told this one a long time. And
Sorry, you didn't.
the train is going along, and this guy feels a real urge to go to the washroom. Well, the train about this time is approaching the city limits of Minneapolis. So he makes a haul up the train to the washroom. About this time, here they are in the city limits. He goes for the door is locked. So he's in a real panic stage now. And he's running around, he doesn't know what to do. The train's coming into the station now. And here's Ole Jansen and Ole Olsen. They're standing out there watching the train come in. So out of sheer desperation, he throws the window up, he pulls his pants down, and he sticks his rear end out and lets go. Number 2. And old Jan, he gets the full barrage right in the face. And he says, and he wipes his face with all this stuff, and he says, he says, what kind of chewing tobacco do you call that? You know? And Orly says, I don't know about that. He says, but did you get a look at the yaws on that feller?
Now the other one.
Okay, now the other one.
I don't remember yet.
The Norwegians?
Thousands of feet, but
Chasing one door.
chased by one Norwegian.
Oh, that's just
You know.
a saying.
Yeah, that was.
Oh, that's a saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1,000 sweets.
1,000 streets from 2 beach.
Yeah, but
You
did
gotta
you
find
use
one
the
more
town?
region, yeah.
Louder.
Did you use the
You
town?
gotta say-
353.
Lose your teeth that way.
That's 7,777.
He used to do that to me all the time. I'd go, hoot,
Yeah, that's right. With the
He had the sevens. I guess it was who. Was that 7?
Yeah.
yeah, who,
Yeah. What?
who,
Who?
yeah.
Who?
What's futa?
Sex who.
Is that,
Well, he'd say 7,777 or whatever it was, and it came out that hoot, 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 hoot.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this kind of a, I don't know, when we were first married, we were living in Herndon there, or Lakewood, you know. And
Yeah.
I woke up one morning and told her, what tea did it? And she looked at me and she said, I said, what tea did it? You know. And she said, what is it? I don't know. And finally I said, what tea did it? And she's practically in tears now, you know.
I don't know what
And
you're saying.
you know, I was asking her, what time is it?
What tea
You know, because I
Yeah.
was, you know, back home with Ma, and, you know.
Yeah, he hit me with that, you know, early in the morning. And I said, what? And he repeated himself and I said, what? And then he really got mad and he's shouting it at me.
What tea did I?
Yeah, and I don't know what you're saying. We had been married too long, you know.
it's almost
You
a
thought
short
it was
marriage.
picking.
Right, almost.
Yeah.
And next year it'll be 50.
Yes.
I know,
50?
it's got a chance of
50.
lasting. Yeah.
We'd like it if all of you could come out.
When are we going on a cruise?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You will
Yeah,
all
that'd
get
be something.
invitations.
Just
Where?
maybe,
The big
Basically,
5-0.
We got, let's see, with our 25th.
It doesn't seem
Is your
possible.
50th, right?
Doesn't.
So,
What month?
October.
October?
Pencil it in.
So,
You penciled it in,
I
you'll get an
penciled it in.
invitation.
Put it on there.
October
I was
9th.
at the wedding. That was
You-
very small.
Yes, it was a very small wedding. Do you know what, that the only one left in our party is Nancy. The twins are gone, you know, Goo and Foo are gone.
Aren't they?
Gone or just?
No, gone, gone.
They're gone.
Yeah.
Where are the My Hills?
Foo and
They're
Goo and Goo.
all over the place. Yeah, Nancy still lives in Chicago. And,
Not in the old neighborhood.
no, oh no, they live in Oak Park, on Oak Park Avenue.
Yeah.
But, she did very well by herself.
He's a real success story. Went to school with me. We were both jocks, you know, when we graduated, PE teachers. He took a job in Chicago at one of the elementary schools. They hired PE teachers, you know, at the elementary level. And he taught there for a year or two. And on the side, on weekends and summers, he was a page at WGN. So this guy had a real good personality, you know. They asked him to quit his job and come in, you know, WGN full-time. Well, make a long story short, the guy stayed with WGN, then became WGN TV. He retired as chairman of the board and president
Yeah, he was
of
president,
WGN
yeah.
TV.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Dan put
and they're not hurting at all.
Yeah.
They go every winter, they go to Palm
They
Springs,
go to Palm Springs.
California.
We've been down
For
there
3
to
months.
visit them.
And then they've got a house in Twin Lakes.
Twin Lakes.
Twin Lakes for the summer.
Twin Lakes, how about
You want
that?
some blue?
Yeah, our favorite
I was
town.
wondering, I just didn't think I kept missing my mouth that much.
Spend a week one day in
Twin Lakes, right?
Yeah,
We
right.
did.
Oh.
That's another story.
Trying to get out.
All that money, they pick a place in Twin Lakes.
Well, yeah,
I mean, that's unusual.
I know, it is. But that's where they spend their summers.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'm returning
You
to the
gotta
rest
turn
of
off
my
the button on
house.
the other side. No,
Is that the
On-
one,
on the
that's
yeah, the red button.
is that the one you were
no,
talking
Yeah,
where your
uh-huh.
thumb is.
about? Oh,
That's Nancy.
good.
Remember, I